really accurately describe what they were really all about. Mental toughness just didn't do it. And so I had to come up with something different, to be able to label what it was I was seeing with these Navy SEAL people and what I see in Olympic athletes and what I see in great athletes, because mental toughness wasn't it. It wasn't quite hitting it. And so I came up with this idea of mental pliability. And the SEAL guys were the first people I should have tried this idea out, to switch this idea of mental toughness to mental pliability. And so I was talking to this Navy SEAL team that was getting ready to go back overseas on one of their 6-month deployments. And we were talking about getting ready to go. So when the boots hit the ground over there, they'd be ready to go. They didn't have to kind of time to warm up, like you might for a football game or a baseball game. If you got 9 innings of a baseball game, well, okay, if you don't do so well in the first 2 innings, you still got 7 more to go. Well, if you're in combat, you can't throw away the first 2 innings because they play for different stakes. So it's about getting them ready to go. And so I began talking to them about this idea about mental pliability and how that more accurately describes what I see with those guys. And so what I did to demonstrate that was, up in front of the room, I had a phone book, just a regular old phone book that that's an inch thick. And I asked one of the Navy SEAL guys to come up in front, and I said, I'd like you to break this for me. Break this phone book for me. And of course, this guy, Dave, he had arms like Popeye, I looked at this guy and I thought, oh, he's going to ruin my demonstration. He's going to rip this phone book right in half. And of course, he grabbed the little phone book and he tried just for a second and he handed it back to me and he said, I can't break that. And I said, I'd like you to think about this phone book as being like you guys are, that you're unbreakable, that you're malleable, you're resilient, you can throw this thing off of buildings, you can hit it on sharp edges of things, you can hit it with hammers, you can do all kinds of things, but it keeps its shape. It keeps its shape. And I'd also gone down to the hardware store and I'd gotten a piece of lumber, that was exactly the same height and length and width as that phone book. And so I held it up with 2 hands and I said, I want this to represent mental toughness. And in just a minute, I'm going to ask this guy, who's the same guy up there, I was going to say, have him punch through this and break it. Before I could even do that, he absolutely just punched right through it with this karate move that he had, and split this piece of wood, right in half. And I said, fellas, that's the difference between being mentally tough and mentally pliable. For every mentally tough guy, there's going to be a seam there that you can find. And if you can find that seam, you can break them. And I said, you guys are not mentally tough. You are pliable like this phone book.
I like that because the first thing I think of, what mental toughness does to a lot of people is they become hardened.
That's right.
And they get They get tunnel vision and obsessive. And if you can get inside, like say that seam, like you're talking about, you can take them apart. In fact, you'll see it on the ball field. It's spring, it's playoff season now in high schools, and you'll see the face guarding of the top player, and it's really meant to get them to start tightening up, and then you find a way to break them. That's all it's for.
Yeah,
and it works because you're right. That's mental. I said I hate that word because it's a command. And nobody can really describe it. But like when you talk about that durability, that you can take that beating, if you will. You're nobody's punching bag. But
that's right.
Now I'm looking at your menu, and you had 2, A versus B items on here. I want to ask about the second one. You have perspective versus motivation or confidence. Tell me about that one.
Right. Confidence is another, just like mental toughness. It's one of those words that's been thrown around forever, and it's been thrown around, as far as I'm concerned, incorrectly. There'll be a lot of people who disagree with that. They'll continue to say mentally tough. I'm kind of going, I'm sorry, I just disagree with you. That's not what it is at all. And same thing with confidence. We hear the word confidence all the time, but the only time we really talk about it is when someone seems to lose it. It's like, well, you've lost your confidence. You got to get your confidence back.
Yeah, it's between the couch cushions or something. Yeah.
Yes, like how do I do that? Just how do I get more mentally tough? How do I focus more? You say I need to relax. Well, how do I do that? Because I thought I was, and so how people in this business, like a coach, well, somebody's been telling me I need to focus more my entire time I've been in baseball. I thought I was focusing, but tell me how you focus, and they'll look at you like you got a third eye in your head. They won't have any idea what you're talking about. And so this whole idea of confidence was another one of these words that's been thrown around for a long, long time, and it's just so gray and just so global it's hard to get a hold of. And what I tell people is that really, if you lose your confidence, what you really have lost is your perspective. And so when people are confident, let's say, they really have a healthy perspective about who they are and what they're doing and how to do it. If they lose their confidence, then they've lost that. And so perspective is an interesting idea. And perspective is what I call, Dave, it's sort of like your self-inventory. And so it's sort of, I keep track of, when our confidence is kind of like down, we keep track of the things that we have lost, the things that we don't have, or the things that we could lose. And when our perspective is healthy, and let's say our confidence is up, we're paying attention to what we have. So what I really spent a lot of time with athletes is I literally begin to have them make lists of their skills. So if it's a baseball player, it's like, let's talk about your skills. How long have you been playing baseball? Oh, geez, I don't know, 15 years. So over 15 years, you have developed a lot of skills. And they'll still look at me like I'm crazy or something. And I say, well, if you're going to put on a baseball camp for some young kids who have never played baseball before, what are some of the basic skills you'd teach? And those are the skills that you have that you don't even think about anymore. But those are the skills that you take with you. So let's say if I'm working with a baseball pitcher, Dave, and let's say a baseball pitcher's got, 4 good pitches. But every baseball pitcher's got the go-to pitch. That's my pitch. That is the pitch that I'll rely on. But what happens on that day if you don't have that pitch? For whatever reason, it's gone. A lot of pitchers will sit and fret about that. They'll worry about it, and every other pitch they got, in their arsenal will just kind of go in the dumper. And I tell them, if you don't have it, take what you have. What do you have today? What are the other 3 pitches? Throw those pitches. It's about paying attention to what you have versus what you don't have. Coach Wooden, who is a famous basketball coach at UCLA, who I was so fortunate to do a little bit of work with when I was down in San Diego, he'd basically tell some of his players, he'd say, from 0 to 100%, what do you think you can bring to the game tonight? And that could be energy, it could be clarity, it could be health, it could be whatever skills you got tonight that you feel like you've got. And he said, what number might that be? And somebody might say, well, I think I got about 75% of my game, coach. I didn't sleep so well last night, I got kind of this little stinger kind of in my hip. Yeah, I notice I'm not shooting my short shots very well. Maybe I'm about 75%, I think. And Coach Wooden would say, son, I want you to give me 100% of 75. And the only thing he was telling that guy was, pay attention to what you bring here and focus on what you got and bring that. Don't worry about the stuff you don't have tonight, because if you worry about the stuff you don't have tonight, then it will begin to eliminate some of the things that you've got. So it's about having that perspective, Dave, about knowing what you've got and what you don't have, but realizing what you've got is what you're going to go with. And if we go back again to the spec op people, that I work with, mm-hmm. There's many times that they get into situations that they might have wished they would have brought a different weapon or more ammunition or more explosives or whatever it might be. But the bottom line is maybe they didn't. And so now they have to take a look at what they've got, inventory what they've got, and make the best use of what they've got rather than worry about what they should have brought with them or what they forgot to bring.
Yeah.
And to get the job done.
And as you were describing the process of, as we move up and forward in life, we dismiss, or we're told to dismiss, the skills we have. Well, yeah, that's day one, as if that skill isn't needed. It's taken for granted, but it's needed. And I think that's where the confidence can be easily lost, because it's always looking forward to the thing you don't have yet, or not as maybe, or like you say, on a given day, and you're feeling empty, which is, okay, if you can't hit, then you better go chase down every ball. You better advance the runner. You better take pitches. Do something. Versus you're not hitting. Yeah. And I also want to mention, with Coach Wooden. So when I read about him, or actually when I hear from people like you, I hear these stories that don't make, they're not flashy, and they're not great posters, but the essence is so correct, which is he didn't dictate or demand anything. He just was, what do you have? Okay, that's what I want to work with tonight, but all of it. Yeah. And I think about one of his creations, which is his pyramid. I think, is it the Pyramid of Success? That's
right, Pyramid of Success. Yep.
And I love it and I hate it, and because when you read it, it's great, but it is so big with so many pieces.
That's right.
That I'll see so many coaches when I do U.S. lacrosse coach training. And again, this is for youth and into high school. They've got this. If you haven't seen it, you should go look it up. Those of you who are listening, because it's fantastic. There isn't a wrong, misguided word on this pyramid, but it's got to have 50 moving parts.
Yep.
And it's enough to just mesmerize you into like going right past the thing over. So, what do you think you can do right today? Okay, I guess I'm going to use you in all those situations. And that's the master. Right back towards, yes, there are all these things that do matter, but in the moment, it's that simple, which is, what do you feel good about? Okay, we're going to go do that.
That's exactly right, Dave.
Yeah.
I even said to Coach Wooden one time, I said, Coach, I said, your pyramid is wonderful, but it's so complex. I'm not sure how to use it, and he said, well, you don't use the whole thing all at once. There's different pieces that fit different scenarios, and you become familiar with it. He says you build from the bottom, and the bottom pieces are sort of the most important, like a foundation for a house, and you kind of move up, but he said there's a piece there for almost anything you could ever imagine, so he said be patient with it, because you'll see something that's going to help you with anything that you bump into.
Yeah, and that's what I want to move into the entrees here, because it's just that what you've talked about on those things there. We get into semantics now. The meaning of things has changed over time as far as what people expect. But let's talk about the entrees in psychology, that component, because I'm seeing some cool things here. Like self-concept / esteem, depression and sadness, and it also kind of drew a link between that and preparing for surgery, because that can really be devastating to a lot of athletes, being out of the game. And I want to focus on this one, decision-making with no regrets, because if there's nothing we get from sports other than this, then everything will be fine, as far as making better people. But we could talk about that, or even the basis for why you group these as entrees. But now we're getting into the psychology.
The decision making with no regrets piece, that really began to kind of find its life with the college athletes that I was working with, Dave. It's really interesting that most of us don't have a strategy to make decisions. And it's the old way of doing it, and that is, if you have got a choice to make between A or B, you simply put together your pro and con list for A and for B, and do it in a very factual kind of way, and weight them. So if it's I don't know, let's say. Go to a pro team or not go to a pro team after college. What are the advantages and disadvantages of not, going into professional athletics? or in some cases ending my professional career and doing something different. I mean, spending some